Now it's time to bring back in Jeff, as well as our good friend and next guest, David Wright, owner of Wright Financial Group, a retirement income store located in Toledo, Ohio. David is a veteran of the financial service industry with more than 30 years of experience. Dave, thanks so much for being back on the show with us.
Thanks. Great to be back.
So yeah, we talk about all this uncertainty today, and of course, hopefully part of that uncertainty will get ironed out in the next week with election results. But what do you think is the source of uncertainty right now that's most concerning your clients when you talk to them every day?
Really, the most uncertainty that clients are feeling is they just really don't know where the election's going to land. I have to be apolitical here in my practice. Obviously, I'm in a more democratic area of the country, but concerns about regulations in a democratic presidency, of more restrictions, corporate taxes increasing. People read that stuff. Consumers that attend webinars, et cetera, are much more in tune with what's happening in the political world. So this uncertainty over are we going blue or are we going red really concerns people about their portfolio. And they're not getting that kind of advice from their advisor now as to what to do in their pre and post-retirement years to preserve their money.
Yeah, and the good news is you don't have to sugarcoat things around here. You're with friends here on Newsmax. Isn't that right, Jeff, politically speaking?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. You don't have to worry about it. We're apolitical today. So I think, Dave, your concerns that you're hearing from folks are the same concerns that we're hearing down here. And what's happening now, I guess, I don't know what your feeling is, but the markets are unstable for a number of reasons. And so this political environment that's so conflicting with each other is creating financial chaos in the markets to a certain degree. And so if we have a long, protracted decision-making process on the election, and it takes us 5 weeks or 2 months to figure out who the president's going to be, it's going to be very unkind on the markets. And so at least we have, and you have, positioned your clients to weather that storm, correct?
That is correct, Jeff. We've all along been talking about income as being the primary driver of retirement. And up here, as I'm sure it is down there, people just don't understand how it's generated, how to even approach retirement with your balance. They come in here, our clients already understand it. And back in March, of course, with COVID's drop, we had very few calls because people understood income is the number one thing that is the driver of their retirement. But folks that come to our webinars and our workshops are totally in the dark because their advisors or perhaps their 401k sponsor, or maybe they're do-it-yourselfers. They've been spoiled. I think they've been spoiled for 10 to 11 years of just this quantitative easing, this rising market. And now they know with this election, things are just really scary right now because they don't have a feel for which way things are going to go. And most of them are set to probably be drawing out of their portfolio, engineering their income, taking out of shares just the wrong way. So we set them straight. We try to set them straight here.
Most important lesson, as you're part of the income generation, you need to go from a growth-minded philosophy to an income-minded philosophy.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah. Let's take a quick commercial break. You stay with us. We have a lot more coming up in just a moment right here on the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton. I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Jeff Small, as well as our good friend, David Wright, owner of Wright Financial Group, a retirement income store located in Toledo, Ohio. So Dave, I know you talked about a lot of your clients' fears and the concerns about, who ends up taking the Oval Office. But at the end of the day, the quantitative easing is going to continue by the Federal Reserve no matter who's in office. And in some ways, although it's generally considered by Wall Street that Wall Street likes Republicans in office better than Democrats, right now with this whole new version of the CARES Act that basically got stopped up in Congress and as the Senate left, there'll be even more money being doled out if Biden gets elected. So, maybe it's not as bad as people think because of that? Your thoughts?
Well, I would disagree. I would say that down the road, no matter whether a Biden presidency or a Trump presidency occurs, and even if it takes 4.5 or 5 weeks, I think that all of this excessive stimulation to the economy, whether it be through more Trump or Biden, whatever, I think that down the road, we're going to have heck to pay with our markets because people have gotten used to the Federal Reserve jumping in and helping. And my point is, people, I think, need to adopt the new normal that maybe they never have heard of, that their parents invested back, 40, 50 years ago, where we look at what an income source can be from your investments. And I think whether you're blue or you're red, I think more money thrown at the market to keep it alive. I just think down the road, people instinctively know there's going to be heck to pay by all of this debt being accumulated. And I know we needed to do it. We needed to keep people alive during the COVID crisis. And I know that the feds wanted to jump in and help the stock market, even buying into the stock market. But just instinctively, I think both clients and prospects up here in Toledo know that down the road, we're going to have some heck to pay there.
So I just want to say this, I know you're trying to be politically correct, but just so you know, the alternate term for heck is actually in the Bible. So regardless of what everybody else says, if it's in the Bible, you could say it on television, right?
Well, then there's going to be hell to pay.
So that's what. Thank you. So you sound like Jeff Small when you talk about eventually there has to be a day of reckoning. Your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, I think, Dave's exactly right. And so you can't grow the debt faster than you can grow the economy and expect to have the economy catch up. At some point, that's got to invert. We've got to become less debt dependent because what Dave is actually saying is you create an environment where the economy can't grow anymore when you are constantly stimulating it and over subsidizing it. But Dave, what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen, is that we're going to see tremendous economic stimulus, much more stimulus. We're going to see probably at some point distributions on a continued monthly basis to folks that are below the thresholds of $25,000 a year of income at some point down the line. That's going to have to happen because people can't catch up. And the economy's not going to come back as long as COVID is in play. COVID is going to be the ultimate push down on this. So they've got a blank check mentality right now. But at some point, you're right. That's got to stop.
Exactly. People have to understand what money means to them. And if they're going to get more stimulus, that's fine. But they have to understand that down the road, they're going to need to generate an income stream that pieces in with their Social Security, maybe their other stimulus packages from the government. But at what point does the stock market, do we really understand what the value of a stock is with all of the help that the feds have given the market? It's hard to really get true valuations on any stock today. So my clients, they want predictability, and that's what we're doing.
Well, it's true. Traditional valuation methods have gone out the window for the most part. So it is harder and harder to determine, especially if you're in high dividend paying value stocks, what's undervalued, what's overvalued, what's a value trap. And we talked about that actually on a show just a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So in the final 45 seconds we have left, bottom line, between now and the end of the year, what do you want our income generation viewers and listeners to know to protect themselves?
I'd like to urge our income generation viewers to understand why you're watching this show. You're watching this show because we're the income generation show. This show focuses on income, and the old norms of growing your balance are going away. We need to understand that our money has a function and a purpose, and you have to understand that the old way of doing business, building your balance, is about to get turned on its head with this election. So understand what you need for income, what you can put in speculative things to see where our market goes over the next 5 to 10 years. But what you need for income, you need to know that it's put in things that can generate income for the long haul. I just hope this election doesn't take 5 weeks to be decided. I think that would be a killer, really.
Great words of wisdom, David. We need to leave it there for now, unfortunately. You stay with us. We're not done yet. We'll be right back in a minute on the Income Generation.